What's up, guys? It's Crash, and I have a discussion video for you guys today about Gray Zone Warfare. There is a lot that is going to be changing with the game. I'm kind of excited for the future of the game and the community, and I want to talk about it. More importantly, with these videos, I also really love hearing from you guys down in the comments below, because we are, we're on the the verge of a big update. Precipice is the word that I was looking for and eventually got there, guys. Don't get old. It happened to me. We're on the precipice of a giant update. It's a big one. It's going to completely change the game forever. And I want to talk about how it's going to do that, what the changes are going to mean, a little bit about some of them, not all of them. There's a lot of details in there. And I just want to see, kind of maybe come back to this video later and kind of like see how we did on predicting how things are going to go within the game. And like I said, please comment below what you guys think of all the stuff that's coming to Gray Zone Warfare, which will be live on my channel this Saturday, the 17th, around 10 a.m. Central Time is when I'll be able to play it. Because as you guys know, a lot of people are asking about when is it going to be. I also would love to know when it's going to be available to the public, but I am lucky enough to be part of the creator playtest that will be live and going on the 17th through the 21st. And we hope, fingers crossed, at the launch for everybody is soon after the 21st. So it won't be long now until everybody can hop in and check out these massive changes. One of the things that got me wanting to make this video and talking about it is lately in Gray Zone Warfare, I've been streaming it and playing it a lot more on the channel here on Twitch and on YouTube as well, doing some live streams with the game. And I have been having a lot of fun finding PvP. We've had some crazy moments like this. No, there's enemy fire. He's by the red truck.
I just got killed by a player inside hotel.
Hey.
Awesome. You remember when you said that they would kill me on the roof? Did Awesome disconnect?
I think he disconnects. He's not there anymore.
Killed one.
In squad offline.
Crash, you're alone.
I'm alone.
You're alone.
Comms. Oh, I think that got him.
Am I here? Hello?
Yeah.
Got him.
4 of them as a joke, because
Oh.
Pro Turbo
killed someone with a nade.
That's pretty sick, Crash.
Yo, take that gun.
Like, oh god.
Oh, that's. Oh, this guy had nods on too.
Yeah, and he's got a nice mask.
Oops.
Oh, this is the guy I saw walking into the freaking
It is.
enemy bird, yeah.
I gotta go. I got his stuff. I'm out. We gotta go.
That's me.
Look at that. Look at that evening sun, man, over the jungle, boys, flying back with a butt full of loot, baby. Like, what are we talking about, man?
I hope there's no AI spawn here.
Some of these super unique moments are like no other game because, like I've said before, it's truly emergent PvP. You never know what's going to happen. There's no raid timer. There's no shrinking circle that tells you when or where you're going to have combat, and that's what makes it really cool. And then you have on top of that this update is going to completely change that. And I also kind of want to talk about the spectrum of PvP, right? Like, is it going to become a game that gets min-max and metas because there's always going to be PvP, you're always going to be able to find it, and it's going to turn into a PvP only game? And why I wonder about that is because when the game was originally designed, Mara, the lead designer over at Madfinger Games, always talked about and how you could kind of tell from the way he described it and the way he talked about the game, and they even made sure to call it a PvEVP. They wanted it to be heavy on the E, and PvP kind of happens from time to time. They put VoIP in the game or proximity chat so you could maybe find other PMCs and work together. But when you put 2 firearms in the hands of strangers on the internet in a video game, violence is going to inevitably ensue. We're starting to find that, but we've kind of also found that Gray Zone Warfare provides this unique sandbox of PvP unlike any other extraction shooter because of the fact that it is open world and literally anything can happen without the restrictions of time and or region, like I said, with a circle closing in and a BR, anything like that. So Madfinger Games has completely 180'd their stance on PvP is what it feels like to me so far, as to completely change the roadmap. If you guys have been following the channel, been following Madfinger, you guys know that this next update was supposed to be about lore and about the story, and they wanted it to be a PvE lore story with, you know, I mean, a PvP story with a lot of lore, with kind of a campaign that you play through with PvP on the side. But I would argue, and a lot of people would, that it is more important to lean into this PvP because that adds unlimited replayability. Some of these crazy moments that we found on stream, the only downside has been it takes a long time to find them. Some nights you can get in, you can go to Fort Nerith, you can go to Midnight Sapphire, you can go all around the place, and you don't even find anybody. You know, we would start the night on the PvP servers and do some quests and see if we can run into anybody, listen and look for choppers and things like that. And that's not, you know, sometimes you can go a whole evening without finding anybody. This is going to completely flip that on its head, because you're going to have circles anytime there's PvP. You're going to hear on the radio that there is PMC contact, there is operator on operator conflicts going on. You're going to see it on the map. So anytime you want to, if there's any PvP on the map, you're going to be able to have that happen. The other night we had one at Fort Nerith where people just started coming, choppers. The word got out on the server that PvP was happening, and it was an all-out war. That's going to happen all the time now, because you're also going to be able to see the cops, the capture, occupy, protect base, the forward bases. There's 36 of them going to be sprinkled around the map. When you take those, you will be able to spawn there. You will be getting some AI guards right there, just like back at the main base. You also will have access to your stash and the vendors, and potentially, depending on the cop that you take, the new vendor vultures. So that's what the cops are going to be, but they're going to change everything. Not only will you not have to ride the choppers much because you can respawn there, it's going to be another bullseye and hot zone for PvP. And I want to see how this is going to play out as well. This is going to be one of the things that I'm going to come back to. Is it too much? Is it going to turn into just a PvP only game? Counter question. If, you know, follow up, is that a bad thing? Because I love PvP, but is it going to lose a little bit of its original planned identity? So those are the big questions I have with this update. It's gonna be so interesting to see how it plays out with the cops. What I thought was maybe a little bit too far on the realm of pushing PvP was the fact that they are going to be, you're going to see if they are blue and taken by and held by your faction, or you're going to straight up be able to see if they're red. They're going to be gray if they're neutral, and that all that information is going to be on the map. So you will be able to see. I worry that the cops are going to be difficult to utilize, because as soon as you take one, you're going to be putting a beacon on yourself that the whole server is going to want to come find. Those are going to turn into massive bloodbath and fight as well. So you're going to have the fights there, as well as if your stuff gets taken, if you know, kill somebody and take it and their stuff has the trackers on it or the air tags on it, they're going to be able to find you as well. So you're going to know where enemies are a lot of the time now. And I think there is going to be just constant PvP. And that sounds awesome on the first set of it, but I don't know if it's going to be too much. I would almost say we'll see if this plays out. If it was up to me, I think the information you receive on the cop should either be it's blue if it's held by your faction, or gray it's unknown. Maybe you don't know if an enemy has it. I think that would be pretty interesting. But you just think about when you get into these fights, and sometimes this happens quite a bit, where, you know, a few people die and then their friends try to come back and they get on the chopper with the LZs, so you know they're coming from the LZs. Now you're going to be able to see them taking cops around like that, and there's just going to be a massive gunfight going on with people adding to the fray, people coming from different directions, and I think it's going to be complete chaos. And I would ask you guys, do you think it's going to be too much? Do you think that's even possible to have too much PvP? Is it going to be too insane and too crazy all the time, where people kind of lose focus of the game, of the looting, of the quests, of the missions, of the progressions? Or, since my other question would be, since there's going to always be the PvE servers where we can go over and play, you know, just PvE to level up your character or make weapons or make money if you get, you know, kind of down bad, is that the answer? Could this be one of the best PvP extraction shooters out there, because you have that flexibility? And I overhype things and I get really excited sometimes, but man, on paper, this looks so cool, because you have the PvP extraction aspect of the open world, right? You know, adding the weather, making the world more living, adding the cops, having more stuff, less empty space on the map. But you have that extraction aspect where you're going out to do a mission, things change. You know, you have dynamic missions popping up as well, which is another thing that's going to push PvP. So you have all of these things going on, but it's open world, so there's no time limits. You're always in the game. You're never going back to a menu. You're always in the game. That's the uniqueness of it. And now you're going to have at will anytime you want it PvP. If that gets to be too much, if you have a rough night and lose a lot of cash, happens to me. If you lose a lot of cash and you need to kind of get back, you kind of need to get back right with your stash and everything like that, you can pop over to PvE. You're not going to lose your gear. You'll be able to level up on the same character. That's another thing. I know a lot of people want those to be separate. Let's see how this wipe plays out if they need to separate those, in my opinion. But having that flexibility of, man, it's been brutal out there with PvP all the time. You can't avoid it too with that information on the map. Keep that in mind as well. But now you'll be able to go back to PvE, run some missions, get your money back right. And then the boys are hopping on for an evening. We're going to go PvP. It'll be easy to find. You'll get right into it. It won't take an hour, hour and a half to find someone else to shoot. So that's why I'm pretty excited about it. I think the game is going to be completely different. And I think Madfinger saw the importance of that. And I think they saw that potential to have all those things working together, of the persistent open world server, at will, truly emergent PvP with no restrictions on it whenever you want to find it, plus the fallback PvE mode if you want to go ahead and chill out and maybe make some money back. Now, I know a lot of people will talk about the things AI. Those are always going to need improving. If you haven't played it in a long time, it is much better than it was at launch. Does it need work? Of course. There are games that have been out a really long time with AI in it that still need work. I think AI is probably one of the most difficult things in a game. I also think removing some of that focus on AI is smart, right? We're making this more, I think this game is going to shift from PvEVP to PvPvE, if that makes sense to you guys. I think the P is going to move up one slot and it's going to be more about PvP. That's going to take some of the spotlight off of the AI a little bit, which I think is a good thing. I think you're going to be fighting other humans a lot more often, as well as they're constantly getting updates. They're constantly being changes, and that's going to be a work in progress. But all of that to say is it's getting better with each patch, and it is much better than where it is when we started. So we have no reason to doubt that it's going to continue to get better. The other thing people have been worried about a lot is optimization. It is in the same category. It is much better than it was at launch. Does it have some more work to do? Yes, it does, but the game is absolutely next gen and stunning. So that's a whole separate argument of where on the spectrum from playable by everyone to true next gen realism do you go on that spectrum. That's a whole nother question for a whole nother day. The thing I will tell you to keep in mind with this update, if it's something that you couldn't run before that you still own and it's sitting in your Steam library, it's going to be worth downloading again because they are adding a new, even lower setting mode for those people. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this doesn't take away foliage and take away shadows where people can have, you know, better and easier visibility, and it's going to change that, because when we start getting more into PvP as well, you got to worry about balance a little bit, and people are going to exploit and min-max everything to try to get the upper hand in PvP. So if that's super low, they called it quote unquote a potato mode on the live stream. If that is a thing that removes foliage, shadows, things like that that are generally taxing on machines, and you can see better, that's going to need some balance, and that's going to be an issue. But what I was trying to tell you is, if you do have a machine that struggled in the past, there potentially could be some new settings coming that will help you. So you have all those big things. Madfinger saw the need to increase PvP. They saw the potential they had. They switched that around. And then you have all the other stuff that's coming with it. You have the new firearms with the MP7, the MCX, the SVD, the Colt Commander, the 45 handgun. You have all the nuances with the rain. You have the Meteosaurus, I guess, assist in accurate weather. So they have climatologically accurate weather for Laos that Lemang is based off of. Hats and goggles block the rain. The weather affects your hydration and body. There's going to be some increases in wind speed working with the foliage. The impacts of raindrops can be seen on the leaves. There's volumetric flow of the water. All of that stuff, all those little things are going to be really, really cool. The other thing to keep in mind before 0.3 launches, I would really recommend, if you're on the fence about this game, checking out some creator streams and videos. You know, mine, others. There's going to be other awesome creators out there making videos and making content about it. Check those out, because the game is going to be increasing in price. So if you're on the fence about it, but this update sounds good, it might be worth the gamble to pull the trigger now and save a little bit of money. They told us it was either very near launch or even potentially pre-launch, that as they add more content, as more development goes into the game, as you get more content with the game, they're going to increase the price as they get closer to 1.0 and so what's probably going to eventually be a premium title. So if you want to get in early, if you want to help them out and kind of, you know, support the game early, you get that added benefit of you'll always have the content coming, you know, as the game gets to 1.0, and you'll lock in that little bit lower price. So just keep that in mind, that the price is increasing. So I would consume a lot of content to make your decision before 0.3 launches, because you might be able to save a little bit of cash on the game. Now, wrapping this all up, how is the player base going to receive this update? Is it going to be massive? Is the Steam charts going to take off all the way back up to 70K when it launched? I really doubt it. I think that having a 70,000 player base, you know, everyone was excited about it. There was the kind of the Tarkov drama that happened at the same time they launched and all that stuff. And a ton of people tried the game out as a potential Tarkov alternative. It wasn't quite ready for that spotlight and those players dropped off. It's incredibly hard to get every one of those back. Like, people, first impressions are huge, but I think this could be the starting point for the game to organically grow. We've seen a lot of games that have done this. The one I can think of off the top of my head is like a Rainbow Six Siege, where it launched, not an insane launch, but over the years, adding content, it grew. I think some of the things that we need to keep in mind is they did sell a lot of copies of this game off the rip. It sounds like, from what I've understood and kind of the vibe I get around Madfinger games, they haven't went out crazy, just blowing a bunch of money and hiring a ton of people. They've kept the core team that's got them this far in these last few years, and they're working on it, and they made some money, so they should be able to. Let's hope they can continue to get this across the finish line, because as the game grows slow, you know, even if, you know, instead of, you know, peaking out at a couple thousand players a day, it bumps up to 1 to 3 to 4,000 players a day. I'm of the opinion of, if I'm having fun with the game and I can find 48 players to make a server full, what do I care how many other servers are going on? That literally doesn't affect me. So as long as Madfinger can keep the lights on, keep the servers running, and we have 48 people to play, I don't think it should be that big of a deal to you. I don't understand the whole dead game mentality of, if there's not, you know, if there's not 50,000 people playing it at any given time, it's a dead game. I don't understand that mentality. If you really break it down to your bubble, as long as you can find a full server, as long as the servers are going to run, you know, let's do it. So I think it's important to keep that in mind, but I would not be surprised if this update, if it plays out in my head like it looks on paper, where there's going to be tons of PvP, you have the flexibility to fall back on PvE if it gets a little too hectic for you. You have all this, you know, ways to play and immerse yourself in this new world with these new details and this new weather. I really think this could, I don't think it's going to be the massive smack in the face, here's 50,000 players kind of thing again. But I really could see that spot on the Steam charts of 0.3, where this game slowly starts to grow and spreads by word of mouth, and people are having fun and having the replayability of that constant emergent, anywhere it could happen PvP is really going to make this game be playable, able to hop in, have fun. You can, you know, you don't have to spend 2 hours trying to find somebody to shoot. You're gonna be able to get into the action right away, and some of the combat is going to be really cool. So hopefully they continue to refine that as well with the ballistic system and the balance there. I think that is one of the potential downsides that we could be able to see, is when you have more and more PvP, you have more opportunities to find like bugs and balance issues, if that makes sense. So with the ballistic system, you guys know this doesn't run off the standard HP system like health points or whatever. You actually have to hit like vitals. There's penetrations with all the different ammos. If you shoot tracers, you'll see the ricochets and stuff like that. So all that stuff is going on in the ballistic simulation with vital organs and wound channels and wound cavities, bullet expansions, fragmentations, and all that stuff. So we start to get more and more fights, more and more reps in PvP. Some of these issues could prop up, and they need to, Madfinger needs to be quick to be able to balance stuff. I really hope that that's a potential bump in the road that I could see coming ahead of those 0.3 launches. When more eyes are on PvP, some of the issues are going to pop out. So let's hope they, and I'm sure they do, they're aware that, you know, I'm just an idiot on the internet. They actually build games. They're ready for that and going to be quick on the draw to help things get balanced. Because if we have some balance, some good feeling PvP that you can find easy on a crazy living persistent server world, what are we talking about here? This is one of the reasons that I covered the game from the very first day. of the reveal trailer to where we found out, you know, it's going to be an open world type extraction shooter. That's why I've been on board with it, because a lot of the predictability of extraction shooters comes from a raid timer and knowing where other players are going to spawn. So, you know, getting that out of there, adding all the questions and just the immersion, the open world stuff. This could be getting to close to potentially, maybe allegedly, Crash's dream game. So let's hope point 3 is awesome. Again, I will be on twitch.tv/crash8 as well as this YouTube channel right here, streaming it on Saturday morning. We'll get going a little bit before the servers go live at 10 a.m. Central, and we'll check it out together. I would love to have you guys there. Thanks for listening to this video. I just wanted to talk about the way things could go with this game that a lot of us are rooting for and a lot of us care about. And with that comes, I want to read your guys' comments, where you stand on it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'd love to see you next time.